Welcome to Gatsby's Yarn. It's been a very long while since I've done podcasting. For those of you who are not already aware, I was down with hepatitis. And I'm still in my recovery phase, but I'm trying to make a comeback. And here goes the first episode after almost 3-4 weeks. It's not the first episode. It's more of an instructional based or probably a discussion based episode where I'll try shedding light on something that I've been asked a lot in the past few years. And something that I think most of the people get wrong. So, as the thumbnail must have already revealed, I'm going to talk about public speaking. Not necessarily public speaking, but interacting in conversations with people who are around us. So, let's dive absolutely into whatever the intricacies of getting to have conversations are. I'll try giving a holistic, let's not get into the jargons. I'll try giving a real picture of as to how you are supposed to approach interactions, how you're supposed to approach public speaking engagements. And disclaimer, I am not a perfect public speaker. I'm not even a seasoned public speaker. I'm somebody who has a knack of going out there and trying to find patterns which can allow you to become a better speaker. Ever since I was 19 years of age, I've always gone about trying to find the minute details, the intricacies, the nitty-gritties of making somebody a better public speaker. I've gone out there, I've interacted with chai walas. I'm not getting to politics, but interacting with different sorts of people from all walks of life. And I've tried going out there and understanding what makes somebody a better public speaker. So I'm always on the hunt of finding those traits, of those idiosyncrasies which make someone better. And today's video will be all about it. So first things first, I know that everybody that I interact with, everybody that is currently working in this civilization, who is currently a part of the civilization, seeks to become far more better at public speaking. Of course, if you are somebody with a lineage of getting to rule over a country, that will not be the case. But most of us, who are a part not just of the labor class, but of the capitalist class as well, seek to become better at communicating. Now, if there's one thing that we need to understand is that vocal abilities of human beings, something that I was reading yesterday itself, that vocal abilities of human beings by which they communicated amongst themselves developed in human beings 200,000 years ago. 2 lakh years ago, people used to communicate, not people, Homo sapiens to be very precise, not even Homo sapiens, there was some other version to it. Those species, those organisms used to communicate amongst themselves by humming, by singing. That is when vocal cords, the use of vocal cords started to spread. Those people can communicate amongst themselves by humming. And the evolution of the first language came about 35,000 years ago. And since then, it's been a challenging journey as to how a certain group of organisms will go out there and try to bring about a language which can be relevant, spread, transmitted, and especially be a symbol of their legacy. So language serves all those purposes, but the only reason I'm telling you this is because right now we are at 2024. I'm still living in the past. 2024. So it's been a pretty long while since it has been engraved into our DNA structure, the capacity of going out there and interacting with people. So instead of thinking of it as a challenge, instead of thinking of it as something that is extremely difficult, we need to understand that this is the route to survival. That this is the only, this is simple way of surviving, not just in the prehistoric world, but in the modern world as well. So back then, unless we had certain communication strategies in place, there would have never been advanced civilizations, thriving. People couldn't have communicated amongst themselves without having the use of vocal cords, the right use of vocal cords. Today, there is a different picture. Most of us, a lot of us, have subscribed to the idea of being a little laid back with our lifestyle. We are getting whatever we want. We are getting access to all the supplies, all the things necessary for a survival. So that has made us a little more lethargic in the way we interact. So we need to allay that lethargy. At the risk of sounding philosophical, we need to allay that lethargy and try getting a little more realistic with whatever we seek to approach conversation with. If we are put in a certain situation, we need to understand that, okay, this is not just key to bettering my life, but this is key to my survival. So maybe if I put my 100%, not just 100%, if I just put my original self there, it might work wonders. So with a pilot of this small introductory phase, let's dive a little more deeper into the 13 or 14 different pointers that I'd like to elaborately shed light on. So first things first, there is a certain precursor to becoming better at public speaking. As is obvious, how does Virat Kohli, Joe Root, Steve Smith, how do all of these batsmen get really good at playing cover drives, pull shots, Rohit Sharma's pull shot, and I don't know, there are a lot of these sports persons who are incredible at whatever they do. What is the key behind that? Are they just going out there in the field and just out of a sudden they're just hitting the ball black and blue? That's not necessarily the case. The reality is these guys have been doing that over the years, every single day, 8 hours a day, and they've just submitted themselves to the process. They've not given a thought of, okay, what will go wrong? What if I do something else? They've just submitted themselves to the process of doing that consistently over a period of time. And when we discuss public speaking, there is this juxtaposition where most of us don't get chances of going out there and representing our opinions in the public. As it is, we limit our interactions. As it is, we limit our conversations. And even when we get the chance, we don't grab it with all our hands open. So first things first, if you seek to become a better speaker, a better conversationist is not a good word. I mean, I'm not sure if that's even a word, but if you want to be better at speaking, better at speaking of what's in your mind, first you need to turn the faucet of your mind on. Because the water will not flow unless the faucet is turned on. So you need to go out there and engage. Just blindly take part in all the public speaking engagements whenever you're a part of a meeting or in a classroom. Just go out there and ask whatever questions pop up in your head. Instead of being too dismissive of what your primary intellect is, embrace it. I mean, it's easier said than done, but gradually, one step after another, you need to build a bridge that, okay, this is my first stage of interaction. Let me build upon it. Let me try being a little more inquisitive with people. So first things first, we need to turn the faucet of our mind on. Secondly, and more importantly, when we discuss about the things that go into making somebody a refined public speaker, there are these vocal cords that are in your throat. I mean, they've been there for almost, I don't know, I'll not take it through evolution again. But if you have to I was reading this famous book on how to speak effectively. I mean, it was a 200 pages long book. I'll share there are a list of books that I've read on public speaking that I've tried reading on public speaking. So I'll try including them all in the description. So there was this book where a certain public speaker was asked to go to a theatre artist. And then the theatre artist was actually famous in that locality for training a lot of people, at least a dozen or I mean, not just a dozen, but at least 100 people. And she explicitly and very precisely asked that person to speak not from his mouth, not from his throat, not from his chest, but from his penis. I mean, of course, this is something controversial to say, but she explicitly asked him to speak from his penis. And she told that all of your energy should come back right from the bottom. And you should feel really straight up energetic. When you go out there to represent your opinions, there should be a voice that comes from that deepest trove of your body. That is when things will start being seen. That is when you'll reverberate a certain form of energy that is absolutely dazzling. That is when you'll have the capacity of captivating an entire audience. So that is something to ponder over. I mean, of course, I'll not go about asking each and every one of you to speak from that specific part, but I'll just say, when you're going out there and talking to people, try to speak more from the stomach. If not that area, at least from the stomach, where you're trying to sort of bring about words that are hidden deep in you, not just the words that is again a sort of a graphical illustration, but try to bring out that energy right from the bottom. Somehow the kind of energy, the more deeper you try to dwell into your body, the better the sound comes out. That is something that I need to back up with research, but that is something that I fondly believe in. If you speak, there are different, I can give you an example right now. I can speak with you. My name is Kripal. I am doing my MBA right now from the University of My name is Kripal and I'm doing my MBA from the Department of Business Economics, University of So see, I'm just making a very small difference, but that is contributing to a significant change. So that is something that we need to care about when it comes to vocal cords. Thirdly, we will push the public speaking part where you're supposed to carry yourself in a certain manner in a public speaking engagement to the later part. But before that, let's try addressing the rest of the exercises or probably things that can help you get better at not just having the vocabulary, but also the way you present yourself. So one thing that I sincerely need to sort of lay emphasis on is the fact that whenever you're going out there and trying to speak to the public, I mean, of course, maybe a dozen times a year or even lesser than that, maybe 6 times a year, whenever you're going out there trying to give a speech, don't necessarily try to imitate the likes of somebody who's already made it big. Like, if there's one mistake that a lot of people have seen commit, there was this one classmate of mine who had who had the job of going out there and anchoring for an event. And he was all, making this up, hyping himself up that, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm going to rock it. I'm this rock star who knows everything about anchoring. And when he goes on the stage, he starts shivering, he starts stammering, he's very nervous, he's incredibly anxious. He's terribly anxious, incredible, won't go there. He's terribly anxious, and then when he comes down the stage, he's like, what just happened? I was hyping myself up and something else followed onto the stage. You know why was there a difference between how he performed and how he visualized his performance? Because he doesn't have to practice to back that visual up. You're getting the point. It's okay if you, visualize every single day. Everybody's a fan of visualization. There's no, two opinions about it. But when you're visualizing all that you seek to speak, the way you seek to speak, the demeanor that you'll carry, you also need to practice it consistently over a period of time. You need to have enough public speaking engagements in your hand that you can have a fair assessment of your own style. So if there's one instruction that I'd like to give in bold and emphasize, is the fact that you should never seek to imitate somebody. You should never seek to go out there and glorify or hype yourself up. But you should always conform to whoever you are. You should always accept the fact that, okay, I'm not a great public speaker. I'm not a good public speaker. I'm not even a significant public speaker. I'm just going out there to speak my heart out. Given my current abilities, given my current talents, I just want to realize the entire potential of it. Now, the problem here is, if you hype yourself up, if you put yourself in a, la la land that, okay, I'm supposed to be something of a very dynamic public speaker, that also diminishes your original abilities. That exertion of pressure, the exertion of extra pressure, that brings down your original abilities as well. So always keep that in mind. Secondly, about the no imitation, only acceptance, that is the pointer that I'd like to summarize it with. Now, if there's one reason why a lot of people are not able to become public speakers or say effective conversationalists, is that somewhere down their hearts, somewhere down their perception of themselves, there's this guilt hidden. There's this guilt of not being what they really seek to be, of not being the best versions of themselves, or somehow they're just not convinced enough that they're working really hard. I mean, if I talk of myself, my biggest guilt, if I talk of one bad habit that brings about a lot of guilt in me, is the habit of watching pornography. It's the habit of doing all sorts of stuff with pornography. And that actually has a very, traumatizing impact on my public speaking capabilities. I categorize my days into two forms. One is where I've abstained from doing any sorts of those activities for like at least a week or probably 10 days to see the effects of it. And one is where I indulge in it, where I do whatever it takes to be to be somebody who's indulgent in it. So I've seen a worse difference in those days when I've sort of conformed to those bad habits and when I've chosen to abstain and live a life of discipline. Whenever I've chosen to abstain for a period of more than 21 days from all sorts of activities that bring about a guilt in my in my perception of myself, I've performed at least 10 times better at my public speaking engagements. To be very honest, I had the, guts, not the guts. I had the balls to walk up to random people and engage in conversations with them. That is the kind of impact that getting free from your vices has on you. If there's another thing that I'd like to emphasize on, is all of us are aware of a specific bad habit that brings about a lot of guilt in us. If we seek to become better at communicating or anything in life, I mean, I don't want to be a self-help guru, but this is how it's getting. This is how it gets. I'd say try to get rid of your guilt. And if you can't get rid of your guilt, try to get rid of your vice. Because the vice is the root of your guilt. And as soon as you get better at allaying the impact of the vice, not just the practice of the vice, things will get way better. So get rid of that guilt, because that guilt has a lot of impact on the way you carry yourself. Thirdly, apart from the guilt factor, there's also something that most of us lack, is the idea of having a passion project. Like if I talk of Virat Kohli, I mean, I shouldn't be bringing up Virat Kohli again and again. If I talk of somebody else who's really good at public speaking, I am running out of examples. If there's somebody in the Indian context that I really like, I'm not sure if I like anyone, to be precise. I'll get to that later, but the presence of a passion project that has a very crucial impact on the way you perceive yourselves. Like I already spoke of guilt. The second part is having a passion project where you feel that, okay, you're realizing your potential. You're doing something that has you're building a forte, you're building a niche where you have the capacity of becoming the world's best at it. The reason Cristiano Ronaldo, Virat Kohli, and all these people, sports persons, and everybody who goes out there and gives a remarkable speech in the public is because they have this insane confidence in themselves that they're doing something that nobody has ever done, that nobody is capable of doing. Of course, I'm not asking you to become such a perfectionist at being disciplined or such a perfectionist at putting in your efforts. But what I'm asking you is to have a passion project that you feel something about, that you feel truly overwhelmed by, that, okay, this is something that I can do as long as I want to. There's something that is a source of joy and pleasure to me. And I'm zeroing down on it. I'm going all in on it. There is a possibility of me becoming world's best at it. So even that has a very, has a very crucial impact on the way you speak amongst the public. That brings about a sense of self-esteem. That yes, I have what it takes to communicate out there. I have what it takes to put my opinions out there. So that is also a crucial factor. Now there are two kinds of public speakers. One who goes out there and expresses his opinion as truly as possible, who feels passionately about something and is is against the tides of the public. And another is the average one who conforms to everything that the public already believes in, doesn't necessarily have an opinion on stuff, goes out there and talks about rudimentary facts and figures. So you need to make a decision of which category you fall into. If you fall into the second category, well and good. This advice might not be very efficacious for you. But if you seek to fall into the first category, if you really want to go out there and captivate an entire audience, you need to start engaging in conversations, discussions amongst people, amongst strangers, not just strangers, even with your friends, and try debating over something that you feel passionately about. Like instead of being laid back, instead of not just giving a F, instead of not just giving a F, go out there and talk about what you feel. I mean, you can either say to yourself that, okay, this doesn't matter to me. Why should I even go out there and discuss why is 6 not 9, why is 9 not 6? But if you seek to become a better public speaker, this is a baseline activity that will make you way better at what you seek to achieve. So going out there and engaging in classroom discussions, discussion among friends, discussion with your parents about something that you feel something about. And then you approach a conversation. For example, I'm having a word with you. There is a disagreement between a couple of people. I think Imtiaz Ali's work is very nonsensical. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have an impact. He doesn't really make the right kind of cinema. He's something of a foolish man. He has this glorified picture of love, which is very erroneous to begin with. On the other hand, there is another guy who has been a fan of Imtiaz Ali since 2011. He has this rockstar poster stuck at his home. He has two options. One, he goes out there and contends with the other person as brutally as possible and tries to correct him. Two, he becomes very philosophical, sagacious, saint-like, and then he says he has his own opinion. Why care? You need to understand that the idea of having a conversation, the idea of getting to be a public speaker is all about changing the opinion of somebody. There's no greater objective of a public speaker than to change the opinion of what a person chooses to think about. So when you're engaging in any sort of conversation, there is always this decision that you need to make. Either I submit my energy to having a conversation with somebody, or either I lay back and, and I just choose to not do anything about it. So in the Imtiaz Ali conversation, the guy needs to go all out and defend that he has the best cinematography team. He has the best music team with the entire country. The kind of movies he makes is really woven with a lot of emotions. Then that will bring about a certain impact on the way you can handle that, that opinion of that person. With that, I also come to a more important point, is the factor where you're a part of group discussions or say classroom discussions, where a lot of factors are what you'll be judged on. if I had to speak from experience, and if I talk of corporate GDs specifically, I'd say that whenever somebody is disagreeing with you, whenever somebody has a point of contention with you, there are these moments where you'll definitely lose your cool. If I narrate one of my anecdotes from my early 2019 days, I mean, I'm not a very old guy right now, but when I talk of my anecdotes from 2019, there was this one group discussion. No, it was 2020. There was this one group discussion held in some Kamala Nehru College, if I'm not wrong. And there were at least 12 different participants. And of course, after 4 or 5 rounds, I made it to the finals. And I was poised to win that competition. I had the capacity, the capabilities to sort of better everybody else. But there was this one point of contention where I absolutely disagreed with the speaker on the opposite table. And I ended up standing from my chair. I just didn't bang the table, but I ended up standing from my chair in all the anger. And you know what happened? I was about to win that competition, but instead I got disqualified. That was one day when it dawned on me that all this pretentiousness of being somebody who I'm not, like I used to have this habit of trying to personify, imitate Keanu Reeves, that I have to be a kind man, I have to be soft-spoken, I have to be all of that. All of that vanished in the face of adversity. All of that instantly vanished when I was confronted by this guy who had a very foolish opinion to begin with. So that is something that dawned on me, that regardless of how you carry yourself, the way you behave in a public speaking session, in a group discussion, is the true reflection of your own self. The way you lose track of your emotions, the way you lose track of whoever you are, you get aggressive, you get violent. It's like a war zone. It's like a war zone where you go out there and you have to defend your opinion. The other person is attacking with their opinion. So that is where your true original self comes out. So yeah, having an opinion that you can passionately discuss on, that you can express yourself on, that is a definite precursor to becoming better at public speaking. Now, apart from that, yeah, the beauty of polarization is, of course, something that will have an influential impact. There is something that I'm still working on. Like, for example, the biggest divider between all the people, the biggest demarcator among all the people who occupy the planet right now is the ideology that they subscribe to. I mean, apart from capitalism, communism, all of these leftist, rightist, conservative, liberal ideologies. So people who have a very clear ideology, people who have done enough research, who worked a lot, read a lot, thought a lot about it. The most important part is thinking a lot about it. That will automatically convert and translate into better public speaking. That will automatically make you very effective when you're speaking of your opinions. If I talk of myself personally, I'm still at crossroads between trying to find an ideology that would really, would really hold me and sort of give me my sense of meaning. I've been struggling to find an ideology. Earlier, I was subscribing to communism, but after seeing the disastrous consequences of having communism in certain countries, I've come down to change my opinion. But then capitalism is also is not without its vices, given the fancy term of crony capitalism that is in place. And I myself feel that the concept of hereditary acquisition that is in some way flawed and creates the biggest dent of income inequalities in the entire country and the entire world. So yeah, I'm yet to have an ideology, and that somewhere down the line doesn't allow me to be the best public speaker that I can be. If I had this passionate feeling of subscribing to a certain ideology, if I had this passion, this clear sense of meaning, this clear sense of idea that, okay, there's a certain ideology that I've read thoroughly about, this is something that I feel passionately about, then the words will come out flowing like then the words will flow out of my mouth like a river. There will be absolute smoothness. I mean, not just smoothness, but there will be absolute conviction in the way I speak. Conviction is a factor that comes with ideology. That is something that you need to understand. So yeah, having an ideology doesn't really, having a dogmatic orthodox ideology will also have its own consequences. But having an ideology that you yourself have arrived at after a lot of thoughtful deliberation, that will work wonders with your public speaking engagements. Now, there are a few things that I would really urge people to do, that I'd really urge people to work upon. And before that, I'd also like to clear a very wide misconception about public speaking, a very wide misconception about engaging in conversations. Now, all of this, runs a lot on social media. I've seen a lot of memes on social media where I would like to be verbatim with what is written on the meme. A person is traveling on a bus. The driver is driving the bus and carrying all the passengers. but the passenger says that I'm an introvert, and that's the reason now I'm having to travel to another city because I didn't have the courage to ask the driver to stop the bus at my station. I just want all of you to pause at this second and think of how stupid, how foolish is this that you're saying that you're an introvert and that's the reason you're traveling to another city. Of course, that meme is made for comical purposes, but if we talk of that in hindsight, this is one reason that I hear an awful lot when I go out there and talk to all the people who seek to become better communicators. Everybody has this reasoning that I'm an introvert, that's the reason I can't engage in the public. I'm an introvert, that's the reason I can't ask out somebody. I'm an introvert, that's the reason I can't walk up to the stage and have a very wonderful speech. Truth be told, and I'm backing this up with a lot of science, truth be told, your personality style, be it introversion, extroversion, doesn't necessarily resemble the way you carry yourself in the public. Your personality style, all this INFJ, INP, whatever, all of that. Now, I'm not trying to be somebody who's dismissive of all of them. I'm just trying to say that, I'm trying to draw a line here. I'm trying to make something, this is a very, this is a very significant claim that I'm trying to make, and it might be a little controversial as well. But introversion and extroversion has everything to do about you sharing what you feel. An introvert doesn't share what he feels, doesn't feel comfortable sharing what he feels, what he really feels. An extrovert is somebody who speaks his mind. Now, instead of understanding the difference between what you feel and what you share, people are labeling themselves as certain personality types and going out there and defending their anxiety, nervousness, lack of capabilities of representing themselves. Now, if I don't have the courage to go out there and speak to a person that, okay, my stop is next, or probably in a classroom, if I don't have the courage to ask the teacher, please repeat this point, or I've not necessarily understood whatever you've tried explaining, it's me who is at fault. It's not my personality that is coming into the line. It is me who doesn't understand that I'm nervous and anxious in public settings. Nervousness and anxiety in public speaking doesn't have any, in public speaking engagements, doesn't have anything to do with your personality style. So have that wild misconception that has been rooted deep into your heads cleared off as soon as possible. Because as long as you keep conforming to limiting your potential, calling yourself an introvert and justifying your lack of performance is a perfect way of limiting your potential, of limiting the way you can express yourself in the public, of limiting the way you can carry a conversation. As long as you're attached to the idea of being an introvert, you just can't think of getting better as a public speaker. Accept the fact that you're an introvert, accept the fact that you're an extrovert, and get better, get done with it. If there is a mission, there is a skill, and it requires a certain sacrifice, it requires a certain practice, just do it. Don't say that I'm this and I'm that, and get lost in the and don't have you fail to have a real picture of it. How insane is that? Be real with it. Embrace what your faults are. Accept the fact that you're nervous and anxious. Don't live in a la la land where you feel like I'm not speaking. I don't need to speak. Speak. Speak at every moment. Speak at every chance. Choose to communicate. Choose to speak fondly of stuff. Whenever you're talking to somebody, if you like a film, tell them, I love that film. Animal is such a blockbuster. No. Not that. So, some other film. Animal brings all sorts of memories to my head. Let me share a small story with you. I uploaded a reel on Instagram of my film page where one of my reels on animal caught attention and it almost hit 1 million views and some 30,000-40,000 likes. A lady commented on that reel that why do people like such movies, such a stupid movie? And I replied to her, why do people get triggered by movies? There are a lot of other things to get triggered by. And then that single comment made her block me, report me, and sort of, report that post as well. And that was pulled down. But that speaks volumes of the kind of controversy that a certain film can cause. Not just the controversy, the kind of impact on people's perception. So I'd say take movies just the way they are. Don't get too emotional about it. And one very strong thing that I feel about Animal is that if people so fondly feel that, okay, Animal has the capacity of making men very, misogynistic and, very polarized, then it'll be really ironic that a single film spanning over 3 hours, 20 minutes that lasted for just 1 month will cause the failure of several institutions of eminence in place across the country which uphold the idea of making a brutal animal into a human. We have schools, we have hospitals, not hospitals. We have schools, we have coaching centers, we have religious centers. All of these try to condense a man into becoming, try to condense a human being into becoming a man or a woman, to be politically correct. But a single film, if it has the capacity of influencing and bring about such a stark difference, that is something that we need to ponder over. How can a single film just, bring about such a big difference? But jokes aside, like I was trying to reiterate the fact that instead of conforming to a certain personality style, conform to the objective that you seek to become a better public speaker, and that will work wonders. Now that we've tried discussing the things that are necessarily need to be made clear across all the people, there are two more sections of this video. One is, of course, the kind of exercises that you can put yourself through to become a better public speaker, and second is the kind of things that you need to do while on stage. So this will be another section as well. To be really honest, I'm absolutely tired of watching all these stupid people on Instagram tell that in 15 minutes a day you'll become a better public speaker. And how does he do that? The person who's doing that, in 15 minutes a day, you'll become a better public speaker. You'll have all the grasp of the abilities that you need to get better at public speaking. I know that whatever he's teaching is, I don't know, I'll not comment on that because I've not been a part of that course. But what is the need to lower your bottom lip while speaking? That is something that I have absolute, doubt over. That is something that I have absolutely cringed by. That why do you have to speak like, my name is this, I like to do this, and this is something that I'm really fond of. I'm a public speaking verified coach. I've been to IIMs, IITs, and 13 more institutions. Why is there a need to do all of that? And then comes another person. I'm not taking names, and this should be obvious by the way I'm impersonating them. क्या तुम एक मीटिंग में लग रहा है तुम बोल नहीं पा रहे हो अपने दिन में जो भी है बाप, क्या तुम्हें लग रहा है कि तुम वहाँ पर जा रहे हो किसी सेटिंग में मेरे से बात होती ही नहीं है भाई. आई जस्ट से दैट पर्सन कि भाई अपनी एनर्जी तो थोड़ी सी लो कर लो. तुम सीधे आगे किसी की स्क्रीन पे ऐसे डिमांड करो कि तुझे लगता है भाई कि तू बात नहीं कर पा रहा ढंग से. दिस इज समथिंग दैट sort of makes me feel uncomfortable that why does he need to scream when he's selling his public speaking course. Give me a chance. 99 रुपए में, बस भाई 99 रुपए में तेरे को दिखा दूंगा कि कैसे तू हर मीटिंग का जान बन सकता है, कैसे वो सुपरस्टार बन सकता है जो हर एक किसी के लफ्जों पे हो. That is another person who cringes me. And again, this third superstar of public speaking who says that there is this wild misconception about public speaking that मेरे को 1 साल तक grammar सीखना है, I need to get the rules, I need to get all the diction right, after which I'll be able to speak in the public. And that is entirely false. Let me just tell you. The more you speak doesn't necessarily have to do with how you speak. I will give you a 15-minute rule set. I will give you a 15-minute practice set, which will definitely change the way. What is this nonsense? This is something that really pisses me off, that this man has the capacity, this man has the guts to go out there and speak, I don't know, speak against the very grammar that is the essence of a language. He said that, okay, you're not supposed to learn grammar, you're not supposed to learn words, you're supposed to stick to a certain paradigm and just get better at it. No wonder what will such people who enroll in such courses do. But jokes apart, there are a few things that I seriously feel will have a good impact on the way you speak in the public and the way you carry yourself. We'll start off by 2 or probably what are these 2 to 3 exercises that I expect each and every one who's watching this video and he seeks to become a better public speaker to do. First is tracking your train of thought. Now, of course, all of us are blessed with such incredible brains which have the capacity of emotionally making yourself turbulent, which has the capacity of supplying your entire body with loads of emotions, loads of impulses, loads of stimuli. And you're bombarded with all sorts of thoughts, all sorts of visuals in your mind every single moment. What I want you to do is to reduce the gap between your mind and your mouth, is to reduce the gap between your mind and your lips and your vocal nerves. All you need to do is track your train of thought. I'll quote this again, track your train of thought. Whenever you're sitting ideally in a room, in a place where you can sort of enjoy the, the privilege of privacy, I'd say track the thoughts that keep popping up in your brain. For example, if I sit idle, the first thing that comes in my mind is a train that's traveling at a certain pace. When I talk of the train, I think of the time when I went to Agra. When I think of the time I went to Agra, I recall a Bengali uncle who forbid me from opening the window because it was too cold according to him. And then I got into an argument with him. Again, this is something that you need to understand. Whenever you're traveling by public transport, I urge all of you to travel by public transport. You have to have certain disagreements with people. Instead of complying with what they want, put your demands on the table and say that, no, I want to have the window open. I want to live at the comfort of whatever way I seek to live. That is how you sort of start to have an opinion. That is how you start to develop a stance. I mean, of course, there is this idea of becoming a gentleman, trying to please the entire subscribe to the ideology of collectivism, but instead you can also sort of work upon what you truly want. Since we're talking of people who seek to become better public speakers, this is something that you really need to do. Now, instead of talking of this aspect of it, let's try getting back to tracking a train of thought. Now, when I talked to that Bengali uncle, see, these are all my thoughts. These are all my thoughts that popped up when I tried reiterating what I'd already discussed in the video. So, if there's one exercise that might work wonders with you and reduce the gap between whatever is in your head and whatever is in your mouth, is tracking your train of thought. If I set out an example of a train, you can do anything you want. Sit ideally, the first thing that comes to your mind. I mean, Simon Sinek also discussed about this, that whatever you choose not to visualize, that is the first thing that comes up in your mind. So have your have your visuals free of any biases. Just sit ideally, first thing comes to mind, India vs England, third test. Okay, the first memory that comes up in my mind is I got tickets for the Visakhapatnam match. I went to see it. I was sitting at the cover stand, and it was a memorable experience. I got to interact with James Anderson. From James Anderson, somewhere the train of thought goes to 2003 when he made his debut. In 2003, after that, I think of the 2006 Ashes series, which is broadcasted on the EA Sports cricket game. And somehow I keep tracking my train of thought. What you need to understand is, you need to keep blurting all of that out, at least for a certain period of time. For example, this might sound a little funny, this might sound a little ridiculous, but okay, India vs England test match, James Anderson, the way the people are bowling, the way Sunil Gavaskar is commentating, the way Harsha Bhogle is carrying himself. If you just keep blurting out certain sentences of visuals that keep popping up in your head, you'll get better at it. Over a period of time, say after you've practiced this at least for a fortnight. Now, I'm talking of incremental changes that will last at least over a year. I'm not talking of something that will be a wonderful trick of getting better with just one day of practice. I'm talking of a very long-term achievement, long-term strategy of getting better. So once you keep have a track of your train of thoughts, after a certain amount of time, with the onset of time, you'll get better at framing all of that into a comprehensive paragraph. You'll be able to stitch it all up into a story. That is something that will allow you to become way better at the way you communicate. For example, right now at the stage that you are at the stage that all of us are at, even me, only these sentences will keep popping up in our heads, and we keep uttering them, blurting them, and keep saying them again and again and again and again. Track your train of thoughts for at least 7 minutes a day. 7 tala. क्या ये हुआ है इस बेचैनी क्यों बढ़ने लगी Okay, so at least for 7 minutes. After that, you will gradually get better at it, and that is how you'll keep a track of it. So tracking your train of thoughts, first step is blurting out whatever comes to your mind. Second step is to do it consistently over a period of time. Third step is stitching it all up into comprehensive paragraphs that will allow you to condense all of your thoughts into a specific story, which will make yourself a better public speaker and a better storyteller in general. To be better at this idea of getting to track your train of thoughts, you can also take part in competitions where, I'm not sure what the name of the competition is. It is collectively known as impromptu. So what happens in these competitions is, for every 15 seconds, a certain picture is shown. And for every 15 seconds, those pictures keep changing. I mean, there are a total of 20 pictures that will be shown. And with the help of all those pictures, you're supposed to make a story while speaking. So I'm speaking. The first picture comes up of Bheem and Chutki. It lasted for 15 seconds, and then the second picture comes up. So you need to plot a story using all those pictures as cues, and all those stories should make a sense and be as comprehensive as possible. IIM Lucknow organized this in 2021, and I sort of was the first position in it. It was not that difficult, but I'd urge everybody to practice that, to make up logical, comprehensive, and elaborate stories by using cue cards or photos. This one exercise can work wonders at bettering yourself. This impromptu thing. So keep that in mind. If you are looking for exercises that can make you better over a long period of time and allow you to keep a grasp of that ability, this exercise will work wonders. Apart from that, for building, apart from tracking your train of thought, if there's something else that you can do as well every single day for probably 5 to 10 minutes a day, is stand up and make your Wolf of Wall Street visual dream, recreate the Wolf of Wall Street boardroom scene in your home when he's going out there and making the announcement that I'm not fucking leaving. Try to recreate that scene in your home. Not just that scene, try to recreate whatever public speaker that you like, whatever specific stage or whatever specific speech that you like, and try speaking in a similar mannerism, or try creating a certain vibe at your place. Like, you have to be very strong with your visual capacities over here. You need to imagine that you need to be very specific with your imagination. You need to imagine that, okay, I'm in a public speaking engagement and I'm speaking to at least 200 more people, and I'm speaking in a certain way which really satisfies me. Once you keep doing this over a period of time, once you keep repeating to yourself that I can speak like this, I can speak like this, I can speak like this. If you do this exercise for at least 30 days, once you walk up to the stage, even if it is not 100% of the way you spoke at your home when you imagine that you're speaking to an audience, it'll at least be to the threshold of 50 to 60%. You'll be able to recreate that exact way you spoke, with the exact mannerisms, with the exact, demeanor out in the public. So once you get attuned to the idea of how the public behaves and how the public shall interact with the kind of questions that they throw at you, you'll no longer be surprised at the real stage. This is one key element of getting better at public speaking. One is tracking your train of thought. Second is visualizing your speeches and the mannerisms that you'll carry. Thirdly, about the content that you need to watch. I'd say a lot of people have this conception that, okay, I'll watch a lot of English movie series, TVs, and then I'll catch the accent and then I'll get wonderful at it. Instead, I'd say watch interviews to begin with. Watch interviews of people that you like. I mean, I'm not asking you to watch Coffee with Karan. That's the last thing I'd ask you to watch. Watch political interviews, watch scientific interviews, watch if something interests you from the field of sports. Watch interviews which involve a lot of sports, and gradually have a mark of a specific interviewer that you really like. For example, I had a great inclination, I had a lot of proclivity towards watching Karan Thapar's content. I used to watch his 45-50 minute interviews almost on a daily basis back in 2019. So you need to find a certain interviewer that you are really fond of and then watch all of his interviews. Say, one good point that I'd like to make here is, all of us are born with cultural dispositions. All of us are born in a certain sect, in a certain creed, in a certain, and I'll not go into caste, in a certain domestic geography. What you need to do is find a certain public speaker from your own indigeneity, from your own cultural background. For example, if I talk of my I have not been successful in finding somebody, but if you're from Andhra Pradesh, if you're from Tamil Nadu, find somebody who's a Tamilian. Like, there is this famous IPS Annamalai who is on a lot of rounds these days from Tamil Nadu, who's poised to become the next CM. I'm not sure about that. And if I talk of Andhra Pradesh, if there's somebody that I like the public speaking of, there's not a lot of people that I like when it comes to the capacity of speaking in the public. I mean, Andhra Pradesh, I'm not sure. Up in north, if there's somebody I like, Prashant Kishore, a political mastermind from BR, he speaks with conviction at a lot of places. Anybody else in the Indian regard who speaks with a lot of conviction, I'll not go after the Prime Minister because that's a different ball game. But anyone else, there are a few people. You need to find those people. You need to find people who have a similar cultural background of yourself. You know why I'm asking you to do this? You find a person that you really like from your cultural disposition. Once you find them, watch videos of theirs as much as you want. I don't want you to imitate them. I want you to understand that just like you, they've also grown on a journey of becoming a better public speaker. once you find their videos, once you find the kind of transformation that they've been through, you'll sort of relate with it. And it'll be far more easier for you to grasp whatever journey, whatever growth that they've been through, once you put yourself to the process of finding whatever they've done, whatever they've spoken of. So once you track their journey, that'll be helpful. Apart from that, you can watch interviews in general, and you can watch speeches. You can watch a lot of speeches. I mean, to be better at public speaking, you need to watch all the greats who've already spoken. And if at all you find somebody who's worth it, if at all you find somebody's presentation capacities, capabilities really up to the mark, watch all of their videos. Watch their videos for practice. Watch how they carry themselves. If there's one person that I was really fond of in my undergrad days in my third year was Steve Jobs. I used to watch a lot of his presentations. I've actually watched his presentation back from 1979 to until 2011 when he died out of pancreatic cancer. So, and to be very honest, I used a few lines from his speeches as well. Like he used this word, fledgling organization. I used that when I was going about talking to different people. He had a certain style to the way he spoke, and that appealed to me back then, not necessarily now. And that is how I didn't necessarily imitate him, but I got a few aspects of the way he carried himself into my own dialect, into my own way of speaking. Not dialect, into my own way of carrying myself. So that really helped. One big, bold instruction that I'd like to give here is trying to be original. Now, there is this very, convenient way of subscribing to a certain accent, of speaking like somebody who hails from America. America, the mecca of Oscars, the mecca of cinema, like the way everybody brutally trolled Junior NTR. So, a lot of people troll Priyanka Chopra as well for her accent. A lot of people are getting trolled. I mean, I can just go on and on about it, of the number of people who are getting trolled for their accents, which are supposedly fake. And see how convenient it is. Somebody who is not even a master of public speaking, somebody who doesn't know anything about public speaking, can trace your accent is fake from a lot of distance. So accent makes a lot of difference. Accent is, you know what is an accent? The accent is the hallmark of your cultural disposition, of your cultural background, of your cultural roots, of the kind of person you are, of the kind of identity you carry. It is a brilliant summary of whoever you are. So once you sort of get, once you get fake with it, once you go out there and sort of completely submit yourself to some other accent while not doing justice to what your original accent is, things won't make sense, right? So if there's one bold instruction that I can give to you to become way better at the way you speak in public is, whenever have this awareness of moments where you're subscribing to somebody else's accent, where you're changing your accent even slightly, the way the metamorphosis carries out onto the humanity. Even if you're changing a little bit, be aware of that, track it and minimize it. Try to be as original as possible. Try to, if you're from Bengal, originally, at least initially when you're speaking, don't submit yourself to the accent of a foreigner, to the accent of somebody else from another state. Be true with your accent. Be so true with your accent over a period of time that you'll overcome your accent. Now, this is again imperative to understand. When you're speaking with a certain accent, when you're speaking to a wide audience, not just a wide audience, when you're speaking to just a few people in your original accent over a period of time, consistently, for at least an hour every day, over a period of time, you'll become, at least on a borderline level, reasonably good at it. And there'll come this threshold, there'll come this level after a lot of experience where people will fail to recognize your cultural roots. That is the growth that I want you to enjoy. I don't want you to submit yourself to the accent of somebody else at the earliest stage. I want you to overcome your accent. I want you to be free of all your idiosyncrasies when it comes to speaking English. I want you to be, just like this famous person Bruce Lee said, I want you to be shapeless, all of that. I want you to be accentless. I want you to be as free of any bias as possible so that the other person enjoys hearing you. One key to having a great capacity of captivating the audience is not having an accent. There's something that I've learned. I mean, there's something that is difficult to grasp at the stage that you are at right now. But once you get free of the way you speak, for example, if there's a Tamilian, I'm not stereotyping, I'm not classifying people, forgive me if I am. But if he'd go onto the stage, there is a way he'll speak. For example, what do I say? India ranks 180 in Environment Time Frame Index by World Bank. Score is 18.90. Denmark, UK, Finland. This is the way you speak, and how will a Punjabi speak? India ranks 180 last in Environment Performance Index by World Bank. Score 18:90. Denmark, UK, Finland. India ranks, I'll not say which state I was doing in the last one, but yeah, every person from a different state, from different geographical background has a certain accent. Once you practice communicating over a specific period of time, over a long period of time, you'll overcome that accent. Try doing that. Lastly, about vocabulary, something that you need to do for vocabulary. Of course, all of us are not born with loads of words loaded on our minds. We come across a lot of difficult words in newspapers, in news articles, on Instagram as well. So what do? Our first instinct is to ignore them. Our second instinct is to sort of make a remark of, oh, such fancy English, I don't want it. Or the third step in this can be something that you can instead do is immediately find the meaning, something that, okay, everybody preaches. You need to find the meaning and not just limit yourself to the meaning. Read the meaning twice. More than the meaning, read the synonyms. Because the synonyms that you read will create an impact on your head. Okay, this word is that as well. So you will always remember the meaning. Don't focus on the meaning, focus on the synonyms. Always focus on the synonyms of the words. And the third step in building that vocabulary, in building that word, and erecting that word as strongly as possible in your mindset is by using that word imitate. For example, you come across a word, any difficult word like proclivity, which is its meaning is having a strong inclination towards. Use that word immediately at places you interact with. For example, on a WhatsApp chat, on a group chat, on an Instagram comment, on a YouTube comment, in a report, in an essay, some Tom, Dick, Harry place, wherever you want to, just use it. Use it at least twice, and that word will forever be imprinted on your mindset. So the steps are, 1, you need to find the synonyms and the meaning of it. The synonyms will create an impact on your head. 2 is to go about trying to use it and as as and when possible. 3, you'll automatically remember it. It will be imprinted on your head. So that is with building vocabulary. And of course, reading will not hurt you. If there's one reason why a lot of public speakers speak reasonably well is because of the number of books that they've read. Once they start reading a lot, once they start reading a book a week, the words will automatically flow like water from their mouth. The words will automatically, there'll not be a lot of resistance. There'll not be a lot of how do I describe this? There'll not be a lot of blocks in the way you speak. There'll not be a lot of them. Once you have a lot of words at your disposal and you have the rhythm of going out there and speaking about it, we'll discuss a lot on rhythm as well later on. Once you have all of that clear, there'll not be a lot of problems comes to carry yourself in the public. So a quick summary of the kind of exercises that I've tried discussing about: tracking your train of thoughts, visualizing your public speaking engagements, watching interviews of people that you like, finding a person from your cultural backgrounds who you can sort of take inspiration from. For vocabulary building, I already told, like, find a new word, find the meaning and synonyms of it, use it in any convenient places possible. 6thly, we are watching interviews and speeches of remarkable people that you seek to draw inspiration from. So that is a list of exercises that I want all of you to do on a daily basis. So apart from all the instruction that I'd already enlisted, which can make you a better public speaker, if there's one bonus tip that I'd like to give all of you as well, is the fact that you can accommodate the activity of playing a sport every single day. If you play a competitive sport, be it badminton, be it basketball or anything, even the idea of running along with a couple of people, that sort of enhances the identity of whatever you perceive yourself as. So engaging, for example, when I engaged in the sport of badminton very consistently over a period of couple of months, I had this confidence that I'm submitting myself to a process and I'm actually working hard to get better at a certain skill. So that put me in a zone, that put me in a constant zone where I didn't always have to worry about what others are thinking of me, but instead I chose to worry about how better I'm getting at my performance. So you see this concept of interoception and exteroception. The problem with most of us is, as we grow up right from the age of childhood to becoming fully grown adults, there's this problem of becoming very interoceptive with our interactions. whenever we go out there, whenever we carry out ourselves in the public or in certain situations where we're supposed to interact with a few people, we become very intro-receptive as to how we'll be perceived, as to how people will think of us, as to if our beard is trimmed well, if our hair is shaped right. I should be the last person speaking about hair. And so these are the kind of things that are starting to occupy us. When we engage ourselves in sports or any other, even the act of creation, even the act of creating something, if we engage ourselves in the process of making art, of recording stuff, of making films or anything whatsoever, that will really give you an edge of better expressing yourself. That will really make a difference. So we've discussed a fair deal about the kind of things that go into public speaking, the kind of incremental changes that you can bring onto your personality and your habits that will have a good impact on the way you speak. Now, if there's something that I'd like to discuss with you on how you can carry yourself on the stage. Now, this is something that you really need to pay attention to. When you're on the stage, the moment your name is called out, there is public speaking engagement. Somebody preceding you has already gone to the onto the stage and is speaking whatever his speech is, and you're next to come. What is the typical situation? Feet are shaking, hands are hands are a little sweaty, hands are shaking as well, and absolutely nervous. I mean, what happens? I mean, everything will go wrong. The heart starts pounding a lot. I mean, it just races out of control. And as soon as the next speaker is Kripal Mishra, and you walk to the stage, all of these emotions are inside you, are condensed within you. You're not showing it to the entire public, but you walk up there and that's it. You tremble and you fail to make an impact. Now, first things first, let's discuss about the entire journey from where you start to the way you speak and the way you carry yourself. And top of it, stepwise. First things first, when you're waiting right after the preceding speaker is done with the speech, when you're waiting, it's just about time for you to go out there and speak. Your heart is of course racing fast, but do you know why is it racing fast? Why is there a reason why your heart is thumping really? It's because you are battling against it. You're literally telling yourself, be calm, be calm. You're taking all the deep breaths. You're convincing yourself that, oh, everything will be fine. I'm a good public speaker. I'll go out there. Yeah, I'm remarkable. I have it in me. I can do it. And then you're making yourself as calm as possible. And that creates a battle. That creates a battle between what your true emotions are and what you're trying to superimpose on yourself. That makes you even more nervous. So first steps first is something that you need to accept that, okay, I have a certain level of nervousness. The reason for that nervousness is lack of practice, is the lack of consistent habit building, is the lack of not being able to do it on a daily basis. And it is absolutely natural and genuine for me to be feeling a certain way. So it's absolutely fine to feel nervous. And while you are, having that heart race really fast, accept it. For example, you can either battle against it and say, it shouldn't race fast, or make it race as fast as possible. For example, I'm having my heart race really fast. Make it race as fast as possible. That puts you in a position of control. That makes you really aware of the extent to which your heart can race really fast. And that puts you in the driver's seat that, yes, I can control my heart rate. Instead of battling with it, accept it. Your heart rate is yours and allow it to naturally, and the moment you're aware of your heartbeat, it'll automatically be in your control. So have that awareness, and as soon as you walk up to the stage, of course, the consequence of it will be a lighter heart rate than when you were battling with it. So first is the heart rate and accepting that it is absolutely genuine to be nervous given the lack of practice. And even after practice, even the best of public speakers are absolutely nervous. I mean, yeah, there are certain reasons why this happens, but yeah. Second is when you go out there, the anchor has called out your name and you're going out there in front of the podium and there is this mic. We have a very bad habit of going out there and checking the mic and hitting like this into the mic. Mic testing. One of my music teachers from my primary school, from my secondary school, taught me that there is a certain layer of something beneath that upper portion of the mic. As soon as you hit it, there is the risk of corrosion. There is the risk of getting bad. So instead of trying to sort of hit on the mic like this, try to blow into it to test if it's working or not. Mic testing. 1, 2, 3. That will be a sign of a seasoned public speaker. That is something not a lot of people do. I've seen the best of them hit on the mic like crazy. And that is actually causing the mic to, falter. That is actually causing a corrosion within the primary layer. So instead of doing this, always keep in mind, instead of doing this, was it working? Yeah. Now, you're standing in a podium. Of course, given my height is a little above 6 feet 2 inches. So given my height, I always find it difficult to sort of speak from a podium. I'll always have to lean over a podium, be a little left and a right, and make all sorts of arrangements to speak. But when you're speaking, there is a podium, there is this mic. Instead of speaking right into the mic, instead of keeping the mic right in between your lips, keep the mic at the chin level. The mic shouldn't be towards the chin level. I'll give you an example. Here is the mic. So instead of speaking into the mic like this, when you're in front of a podium and you're interacting with the public, keep the mic straight, but keep the mic at the chin level. Like this, you're getting the exposure that you want. You're getting the right kind of exposure, and you're also not at the risk of, amplifying the voice unnecessarily. You're not at the risk of allowing the other people to listen to your breathing, So, my name is Kripal, and see that breath, that gap will be captured by the mic when you're putting it over here. But when you're putting it over here, right below your chin, that won't be captured. All sorts of breathing sounds, all sorts of noises that come about will vanish. So remember, always put the mic at your chin. This is something that I was taught by a certain judge at a public speaking competition. Now, a couple more things about the way you carry yourself. The more important aspect of speaking in the public is not the kind of words you have, is not the kind of stories that you seek to tell, is not about the kind of opinion you have or the statement that you're trying to make, but it's about the timing. Of course, those are perfect ingredients of a remarkable speech, but it's more about the timing. Just like the cover drive that all these cricketers play, it's all about the way you time your words. There is a certain heart rate. You're already accustomed to what your heart rate is while on the stage in normality, however your heart functions. So you have to pace yourself appropriately to the exact rhythm. Now, quote that word, rhythm of your heart rate. Once you fine tune and adjust to the exact heart rate of yourself, that'll work wonders. My name is Kripal Mishra, and as is obvious, I'm a second year student at the Department of Business Economics. This is a certain way. And the other way is a little more fast. My name is Kripal Mishra, and I'm a certain student at the Department of Business Economics, University of Delhi. Of course, nobody goes as fast as that. My name is Kripal Mishra, and I'm doing this. You need to find that exact pace, that moderate pace, which is in rhythm with your heart rate, which is in rhythm with what your entire system is working at. So once you find that rhythm, there's just no going back. I found my rhythm in this pace. You'll find your rhythm in a specific pace. All of us have specific rhythms, like all these songs which have 120 beats per minute, 150 beats per minute. That is the exact way you need to configure the way you speak. You need to have 120 words per minute, 80 words per minute, and that should be in rhythm with what your heart rates are. I'm not sure how fast our heart rates, our heartbeats. Is it 80 times a minute? Or I'm not sure about that. But the ratio should ideally be 2:1. Like there should be 2 words per heartbeat. I hope you're getting my point. There should be 2 words per second that converts into 120 words per minute, ideally. If you imagine that a certain person has a heartbeat rate of 60 words per minute. But you don't necessarily need to conform to that formula or ratio, but you need to find your ideal heart rate, your ideal rhythm of getting to speak. Once you time yourself with the pace of your heart, the result will be very good. The result will be perfect. Lastly, and the most important aspect of you going out there and speaking whatever is on your mind, is that whenever you're speaking, there is this habit. I also have this habit for a long period of time, is that instead of my shoes being on the level, on the ground firmly, I have the habit of speaking on my toes. I don't know why. I'm already tall. I still have this habit of speaking on my toes. And as soon as my feet go on the toes, now you need to be really aware with what I'm trying to speak at. As soon as my posture goes on to the toes, I'm not taking the energy from the ground. I'm not asking you to conform to all those spiritualistic jargon and all of those spiritualistic stuff that I'm trying to talk of. I'm not trying to talk of all of that. I'm just not asking you to relate it with spiritualistic stuff. I'm telling you, I'm not getting any energy from the ground while I'm speaking with my feet, with my toes, with my rest of the feet on the air. And that is how I'm creating a misbalance. I'm creating a position for myself where I'm not firm, where I'm not very much, strong with what I seek to express myself on. And that creates a lot of problems. Whenever you're going out there, it's all right, first and foremost, if there's this one wild misconception that I'm supposed to speak as, as hurriedly as possible. Instead of hurrying with everything, go there. Take a long breath before beginning your speech, and nobody will mind that. If it betters your speech, close your eyes for 3 seconds. Do this. Adjust the mic. Bring the mic closer to your chin. Make sure both of your feet are grounded. As soon as they're grounded, you get a sense of energy. You get a sense of stillness. You get a sense of stability. Yeah, that's the word that I was looking for. Stability. You get the sense of stability. And once you start speaking, you're as calm as possible. And once you have a body which is as calm as possible, and another thing that you need to note is your posture, your feet should be firm, but the rest of your upper body should be as loose as possible. The rest of your body shouldn't be very stiff. Mani, you shouldn't be speaking like that. You should be speaking, I'm of course going into the extreme examples, but you should try moderating all the stiffness into as much flexibility as possible. Your lower body should be stiff. Your upper body should be as flexible as possible, so that during your speech, you can come up with certain things that you can do. For example, I recall from one of my speeches where I did that, okay, what's this clip? This exact clip will give you real information.
And because they can't meet their desires, because they can't meet their desires with this awareness, they have this, unholy ways of pursuing it. And this creates a wedge.
You see how I do this thing that, they have this unholy way. This is because I kept my upper body as loose as possible. I was not even aware, I was not even conscious of how I did that, why I did that. I didn't even realize that, why am I doing this? Well, it just comes out naturally. That is a statement, that is a symbol that I'm in rhythm with what I'm speaking on. I'm in the rhythm with what my body feels right, with the way my body is functioning right now. So yeah, that rhythm is also very much helpful in allowing you to sort of get the better of yourself at public speaking engagements. Summarizing it all about the way you carry yourself on the stage, one is not backing your heart rate, but accepting your heart rate and accepting the fact that you're nervous because of lack of practice, because you don't do it daily, you don't have the privilege of doing it daily. First is acceptance of your nervousness. Second is taking your time before beginning your speech. Go in front of the stage, take at least 15 seconds before you begin with your speech. First things first, take a long breath, close your eyes, and then make your put both of your feet as erectly, as firmly as possible. Your lower body should be firm. Your upper body should be loose, as flexible as possible. Adjust the mic towards the chin. Put the mic towards the chin, not into your mouth, not below the lips, right, in front of the chin. And then when you're comfortable, that is when it's okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the video on public speaking. This is something that 3 or 4 people had requested on public speaking. A lot of people in the past as well have tried asking me as to how they get better at communicating. Of course, the entire video comes with a very strong disclaimer that I'm not a seasoned public speaking professional. I'm not somebody who has the absolute courage of going out there and being my absolute best at every single day. There are moments where I speak like a horrible person, like a destitute man. There are days. And there are also days when I speak like a bloody politician, a bloody democratic leader. So yeah, there are these, and I know why there is a lot of volatility in my performance. I know the turbulence is because of the guilt factor that I spoke of. I spoke of that addiction that I had, that I continue to have, and I'm working on it. And whenever I'm off that addiction, whenever I'm having a firm control over that addiction and not indulging in it, my public speaking performance just goes up the ladder, just goes up beyond anything that I can think of. I would always emphasize on the aspect of being free of guilt and being passionate about something, finding a certain forte where we could probably convince ourselves that we can be world's best at it. That'll bring about a lot of difference. And if there's anything else that I can help you with when it comes to public speaking, any specific doubt, whatever in the domain of public speaking, whether you're carrying yourself or any doubt, I'll be more than happy to help. And I look forward to making a little more content on public speaking, probably on conversations as well. And the next episode is lined up for tomorrow. Let's see how it turns out to be.